Why is it that you want to use other people's money for your property deals?
Why is it imperative that you do?
This is what we've been talking about this week in our NAB and Investor Sprint Week. We've been going through the purpose of networking, how to network effectively, and why is it that we use other people's money? So that's our question to you this week. Can you tell us?
Silence.
Welcome to this Friday's edition of NAB and Investor Live. Another productive week, the end of start of the school holidays.
It's been sprint week this week, so a lot of progress made.
Yeah, end of sprint week. It's start of school holidays. All sorts of things going on, but it doesn't mean that you stop. Just because, actually, do you know what? School holidays are an amazing time to actually bag yourself some deals, because the whole world goes on holiday, and that means that the phones aren't ringing for the estate agents. That means there's not so much activity. Neil's going to be doing some Neil's news just a little bit later, and he'll tell you all about it. But yeah, there's lots of things that happen during certain times of the year that causes a slowdown in the property market in a whole. So Neil will be covering that very shortly. But yeah, our question to you today is, have you actually thought about why we use other people's money? And it's not just because it sounds really fun to do.
Yeah, so it's all about the benefits, not just to us, but to the funder as well. There's huge win-win scenarios created using other people's money. And obviously, it helps you grow a massive portfolio.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, hello to Paula. Hello, Paula.
Good afternoon. Haven't seen you for a long time.
We haven't. We haven't. Amazing to have you with us. So, if you're watching this on replay, please let us know. We are Neil and Jacqui Dobson. If you haven't met us before, we've been in the property game since 2018. We have. Can't believe it, it's 8 years ago. We've been on the roller coaster ride. We've gone from not knowing what we're doing to building ourselves a multi-million pound property portfolio. We've had struggles. It doesn't stop. Challenges all the time. It's just that the challenges feel easier to get over.
They're less daunting, aren't they? The more you
that's
do.
A good way of doing it. Yeah, I did actually get asked when we were doing boot camp. Was it last week? Week before? Like the biggest hurdles that, or the biggest challenges that we face every time, and I said, well, it's the same challenges, but they just feel smaller because we know how to deal with them. So that's what happens. And raising money is one of those hurdles. And to start with, it does feel very, very daunting, but it does get easier. And what we've been doing actually with Sprint Week, the NAB and Investor Sprint Week this week, is actually going through, well, we do this every month, is to go through all the different ways to actually get yourself capital, to create conversations that will then create capital. And that's how we help people. That's what we do, and that's exactly why we come on every Friday to help you guys hopefully answer some questions. Maybe you've got some blocks, you don't know, like, how do you even start sort of entering into the world of using other people's money, and that's why we're here, and that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, and the piece that most people avoid really is the proposal, isn't it? Which is ultimately your business plan.
I know, and our group has suddenly started to realise actually just how important it is. I know, I've seen the needle definitely moved this week, which was brilliant.
Some fantastic results in raising funds as well.
Absolutely. But yeah, why do we use other people's money? It's more than, obviously the top one is, I don't have any money. That's the top one, but there are so many other reasons why we use other people's money. And even though we do use it because you start out with absolutely nothing, but also it's to do with credit rating, it's to do with speed, that you can actually get deals done. The banks just borrow our money. So when we place money into a bank account, they then take that and they invest it, and they make themselves profit off the back of our money, and then they lend it back to us as mortgages, as loans, as overdrafts. And then we pay for the privilege of them having taken our money and invested it. So by using other people's money, it actually stops the banks, taking advantage of us. Basically, that's what we do. Speed, we can evolve. There's no financial footprint when we use other people's money. So lots and lots of different ways or different reasons why we use other people's money. And I realised this week that we don't tap into the reason why.
And
so
it's
much.
not just for our benefit, it's for the lender's benefit as well. Their money is growing far more rapidly and in greater amounts using us. We do definitely create long-lasting relationships. We've got private funders that have been with us 8 years now, and they don't want that money dropping in their account every month to stop. So it's a great way of building long-term relationships and really creating win-wins, and that's what it's all about, is building long-term business relationships.
Yeah, and it's so super speedy. We've had instances where we've been let down by bridging loan companies, solicitors, yeah. So we've had to find money really, really quickly. Within 4 hours, I think we found about £90,000 for a deal that was about to exchange an auction property. So yeah,
complete. It's going to complete, yeah, because you exchange on Hammer, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's so true. So yeah, lots of reasons why we use other people's money, and there's billions and billions of pounds sitting in people's bank accounts that is not being utilised. They're not taking the advantage of high interest rates because they don't understand money. And this is something that we really challenge you to do, is really understand how money works, and to take care of it as well. Take care of your funds that are in your bank. So, and leaving it in the bank isn't taking care of it, I can tell you.
No, I mean, even when you've got your funds and you think let's fund the deals myself, we still go looking for other people's money, using other people's money. We use ours for proof of funds, really, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then we can scale. Because, within reason, no matter how much money you've got, it runs out.
It does.
It runs out.
And I know that people think that getting institutional lending is the easy route. It's not actually that easy.
It's tough now.
It's changed a lot since we entered into the marvellous world of property in 2018. I mean, it was relatively easy to get cash then. It was really relatively easy to get bridging and to get mortgages. It's since COVID, it changed a lot. The cost of living has gone up, so the mortgage companies are more wary of outgoings and your ability to pay mortgages, and so they are thinking, because they're investors. That's what they do. They invest their money to us, and then we give them a return on it. It's exactly the same thing. And they are more risk adverse than they have been in previous years. So actually raising funds through an institution isn't as easy as it once was. So
no, there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, during the lockdown and COVID, obviously money got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and people are borrowing more, buying bigger houses, bigger cars, and obviously when it come to refinancing 5 years down the line, they weren't in a position to do so.
And that's what we're finding now.
Yeah, so that's why there's more properties on the market than there's been for 12 years, because they're coming to the refinance stage, and they've either got to put money in to keep the payments the same, or they can't afford it. They're not getting the lending they need to stay in that house. So, and this is where opportunities arise, and and opportunities for us to solve their problems, and basically buy their problem and solve it. So yeah, buy their property, solve their problem.
Marvellous. So we're going to be with you for probably another 20 minutes. Neil's a little bit under the weather, I'm afraid.
A little bit, I'm a lot under the weather.
Yeah, he's a poorly boy, but he's soldiering on.
Look at it, still good looking though. Yeah.
So we're gonna, I think we'll head over to Neil's news and see what I haven't heard Neil's news, so I don't know what's going to be said.
I'm not sure I can read my writing either. So obviously there was talk about the Bank of England upping the interest rate, the base rate, probably up to 4%, but actually with the latest news on inflation, where it's dropped by 0.2%, to 2.6%, that may bat that off for a while. So I reckon they'll stick with it at 3.75 for the foreseeable, which is good news. We obviously don't want it going up because we don't want our funders earning more in the bank, and we don't want to have to pay more on a mortgage, do we?
No, we don't.
So yeah, that drop in inflation by 0.2% might just stave off that interest rate increase. So that's good news. And then there's a new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, who's appointed Angela Rayner as Housing Secretary, which is quite interesting. And they've come out with a statement, I think it was this morning, it may have been yesterday morning, about they've got no plans to implement rent controls.
And is that because Mr. Burnham is a landlord himself and he has a property in London, and so he doesn't want control on his rent?
Well, they'll never say that, but what they're actually claiming is the Renters' Rights Act has already played a part in stemming the rise of rents. So they reckon their Renters' Rights Act is already having an impact and doing its job. So we'll see, because obviously they're claiming you can't have a bidding war on a new rental property now, but all that's happening is if you speak to the agents, the letting agents, they're listing it a bit higher because they can come down but they can't go up. So ultimately the tenant is still paying. So
you put the ceiling price on it.
You put it above what is potentially the going rate.
And then it all becomes the going rate.
And if you've got really nice properties, which ours are, we make sure we do a really nice refurb and create beautiful homes for people. Proud people will stretch themselves to live in those properties. So you don't want to put it under the going rate. You want to put it a little bit higher, and if you get no interest, you can always come down to what is the going rate. So there's a little tip there. So according to EIG, the Essential Information Group, properties offered at auction have gone up by over 35% in the month of June, year on year. So that's those listed on auction for sale have gone up 35% year on year. And many of them are landlords that are selling up. Now this, again, I keep saying it, is a great opportunity for the professional landlords. So most of those landlords that are selling up is because they own them in their own name. And it's now not tax efficient, or they've had the same tenant in there for decades. They've rarely put the rent up, and they've rarely done any maintenance or upgrades on the property. And now with the the Renters' Rights Act and the Safe Healthy Homes scenario, they need to spend money on it, and they haven't got the money to spend. So they're auctioning them, which is a great outlet for us, a great source of supply for us. We're a bit careful about buying with tenants in situ,
especially now. We weren't before.
No, we've done it many times, and we've always factored in the fact we might have to get rid of the tenant. But yes, so we generally only buy now with vacant possession. But keep an eye on the auctions. There's a lot of investment properties going through auctions. This is frightening. More than 6% of house sales are taking in excess of 6 months to complete now. Painful, isn't it?
I don't understand why.
And this is compared in just 7 years ago, in 2019, it was only 36% of house sales were taking more than 6 months. So that's growing and growing and growing. We work very closely with our solicitors, and they sponsor our networking event and come and do keynote speak slots to give us really an insight into what goes on during the conveyancing process. And most of the hold-ups are actually looking into proof of funds and evidence and where the funds have come from. So, don't be too harsh on the solicitors. They're doing a job. They're working tirelessly behind the scenes, and it's important that you've got a great relationship and you can actually ask them to keep you informed and updated. But yeah, I mean, we've used the same solicitor last year for 2 house sales, didn't we? And the difference was the buyer's solicitors, the quality of the buyer's solicitors. The first one we sold took nearly 7 months to go through, and we sold that to the tenant in situ. So they hadn't got a moving date, anything like that. They already lived there, and that took 7 months. So no chain whatsoever. And the second one we sold to a lady who works for a solicitor's firm and instructed her solicitors, and it went through in 4 weeks because both solicitors were working towards the same goal.
They were hot to trot.
They were hot. So it's all about, please don't go cheap. It's painful. Painful. I can't stress it enough.
Well, we discovered that everything.
I'm very impatient, and 7 months for a sale with no chain is just ridiculous.
Everything in property, if you go cheap, you
get what you pay for in life, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
And so we've obviously had some hot weather recently, and a longer football World Cup than usual because there's 48 teams involved this time. But that has impacted the housing market with new listings down by 1%, which is really significant number. It's huge, 1% year on year compared to the normal average. With a heat wave goes down 0.2%, and then during the school holidays that drops again. So we are seeing fewer and fewer properties listed, but there's also fewer and fewer people going out looking to buy. So again, keep going. We're always looking to buy.
Yeah.
And when there's it's supply and demand again. If there's more properties for sale and there are buyers, there's some bargains to be had. So get out there and do the do. Keep viewing, keep offering, keep following up. Wait for the magic to happen. What else have we got? This is an incredible figure.
I've just seen this. I don't understand even what that number is.
1,700% increase. There's been a 1,700% increase in new landlord company registrations since 2000. In the last 26 years, there's been a 1,700% increase in what you'd call professional landlords. So company registrations for landlords that are doing the job properly via a limited company, not in their own name, which is an incredible number. And obviously that is mainly because of the majority of them have come over the last 6 years, but that is mainly because of the tax implications. And obviously it's more tax efficient to buy in a company, and at the end of the day it's a safer bet as well. So incredible number, 1,700%. You can't get your head around that, can you?
No, I really can't. But
it's really good news for the tenants as well, really, because that means they're serious players, and they want to do the job properly, I'd say. So yeah, it's good news all round.
Yeah, you said that there's hardly any news when I asked you earlier, and there's loads of news. And I just find the numbers staggering. So are you saying that 35? What was the 35% in the auctions? What was that snippet?
So 2019.
This one here.
All right, sorry.
EIG.
Yeah.
So over 35%.
More lots available.
Far more lots.
Yeah.
But less are being sold as well, though, aren't they?
They have been. There's been. I haven't done this month. Well, this month's figures. The auction that we follow closely is next week. But last month there was quite a lot withdrawn or postponed. Now, there's two reasons that can happen. Is usually there's one of the two reasons. One is the legal pack isn't prepared on time, so they can't actually sell it. And the other one is that they've had nobody either view it or register to bid on it. So there's no point putting it through the auction. So they're the ones you want to keep an eye on as well. And, if they get withdrawn and postponed again, just go and view and put an offer in. Pre-auction.
Yeah, we don't do all that.
I'll put another offer in today, pre-auction.
We don't get involved in all that bidding malarkey.
You don't
stuff.
need to. You can do it either side, or so I've just upped my offer. I haven't told you that. Just upped my offer on one of an auction property that we're really interested in. So we originally do the numbers very, very conservatively, and then we've got room to negotiate up slightly. And if it gets to decline this time, we'll see if they'll take an underwrite on it.
Do you know what I find amazing is how emotional the property market is. It's so driven by people's emotions
and events.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then the events are the humans, aren't they? So
you look at the World Cup. People are distracted by other stuff.
Yeah. So it's that's when you start delving deeper into this, you'll find that everything basically is driven by emotion. Oh, Lloyd's just hopped on. Hello, Lloyd.
Good afternoon, Lloyd.
Hello, Joe as well. Joe's on as well. I've been watching for a little while. But I find this is the same with absolutely everything. Human beings are driven by emotion, and so you always have to think about the emotional side of buying property, of raising money, of even selling property, because when you've got a seller, they're emotionally driven at the start, and then it gets more logical as time goes on. And what I mean by that is they attach themselves to that house because they have memories. It was maybe an auntie that they remember going there as a child, so they have emotional, and they feel that emotional attachment has a price ticket on it. But as the property becomes a drain because it's not selling, then the logic starts to kick in, because then it's actually having an effect on their purse strings. So that's where the transition is.
This is where we do a lot of back scratching with a handful of agents that we work with. We'll go and view properties that we're not really interested in, which are listed way over their realistic price. And the agent will say to us, do you mind just going and over you and putting one of your offers in? So we try and condition the vendor to get a bit more realistic about what it is actually worth. So if we generally offer under the asking price anyway, under its market value. Definitely under its asking price. But
we also put our value on it, don't we?
My market value is different to your homeowner's market value, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But so we very much back scratch. We'll go and do a bit of a good deed for them, and then they'll bring us deals as a result. So it's really about working relationships.
Always.
But the other thing is, which I find remarkable, where they're saying the World Cup has really impacted the amount of people going out and viewing and offering on properties, actually seeing deals through. I find quite remarkable, because most of the matches were in the evenings, or if not early hours of the morning. So you've still got all day.
I know.
You've still got all day to go out and view.
It's a distraction, though, isn't it?
It is, but it's amazing how many winners and losers there are in business through one event. You think a lot of hospitality places would have really reaped rewards from the World Cup, but the housing market is suffering as a result, and I find that really quite remarkable.
It's humans, I know, but this is it. This is what we need to. So when we're raising money, I mean, this is the whole point of this. Our show, our live on a Friday, is about raising money. We do go off on a little tangent every now and again,
for 20
but
minutes,
it is really interesting. But when raising money, you have to be thinking about human emotion, and this is what we've been talking about this week in Sprint Week was all about networking and how to. And went through the 5 Ps. I'm going to say, Joanna, repeat the 5 Ps. So we've got preparation, we've got planning and prep, whichever way, I can't remember. We've got practice, we've got implement. And
that's a P, believe me.
Yeah, that is a P. And then we've got persistence as well. So everything we do, we need to start planning and prepping for whatever we're doing. Speaking to people who have been on these short property courses, and they've been told about, look for the grubby house that's like looks unloved, not for sale, off market deals. But there's no planning. It's like, okay, so you put a letter through the door. What now?
Yeah.
What's next move? And what happens if that person responds and they haven't thought that far?
That's when the fear kicks in normally.
It's like, okay, so then how are you going to evaluate, its value, and then what communication process have you got in place? And there's nothing beyond just identifying and putting a letter through the door. So, and it's the same with when we network. We have to plan, where are we going? Who are we going to see? Who do we want to meet? What's our conversation going to be? You have to start thinking about all these things, and then it makes a really effective networking event, and you get results from that event rather than just a jolly up, which don't get us wrong, we've been there. But yeah, the jolly up is just a waste of your time, because it's a business event and you won't get results if you just go for a jolly. So yeah, 5 Ps, remember that. Preparation,
but it's all about
planning.
It's all about arriving in a timely manner. Being in the right frame of mind, being in clothing that makes you feel good, because it uplifts your confidence. If you feel good, you're going to deliver better. Just making sure that you're going with one what's the word?
Agenda.
Objective. One objective. Yeah. So one objective. So you're not going in with this scattergun, all sorts of strategies going on. You're going to talk to everybody about different things. One objective, one agenda. Go in there and treat that event as a real business event.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been guilty in the past of going along, and Jackie's had to drive me home because I've had a few beers, you know. But had a thoroughly good time, but achieved nothing.
Absolutely, and you're thinking, why? We used to come back and go like, okay,
what was that all about?
Yeah, we've just spent loads of time and loads of money on networking events. It's bringing us nothing. And then you think, okay, it's because we're not tackling it in the correct way, and that is, you know, got to have that forethought. Everything in property is always about planning and preparation. Absolutely everything. So when you're looking at a deal, you've got to look from start to finish. You know, what are the numbers? How are we going to raise the money? Who's our team? Who are we going to use as a solicitor? Everything needs to be planned. It's the same with everything. And this, when you start to do that, when you actually do the planning and the prep, you find everything becomes so much easier.
So we've just before we come on air, we've got a mentee of ours looking to buy an auction property, wants to know how to extend the lease on a flat, and then all of a sudden, oh, my solicitor doesn't deal with auction properties. So the planning wasn't there. You've got to know these things before you get into it.
Yeah.
Because they've only got 28 days, which amounts to 20 working days to see this through. And once that hammer comes down, you've exchanged contracts and you're legally obliged to buy it. If you don't, there's penalties. So yeah, making sure not just you've got a team, but you've got the right team to see these things through.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, where the fund's coming from. You don't get time with auction properties.
You can't start applying for bridging loans once the hammer's gone down. You've got to have an offer in principle and everything in place.
Absolutely, 100%. So if you're starting to look at an auction property today and it's on Tuesday, there's probably not enough time to get everything in place. So we've got 5 minutes left. 5 minutes. So I would just like to go through a few objections that got thrown up during the week. One actually.
Put that into context.
So.
Because I had to miss last night because I was poorly.
I know. So in the NAB and Investor Facebook group, which is obviously where you guys are watching us from right now, I put in sometimes a little bit random. They're like little motivational bits and pieces. Things just to maybe get you thinking. And one of them, which seems to be the popular one, is about objections. What objections have you faced this week from people that you've spoken to? And that looks really weird, you with your stiff thumb.
That's another accident, that one.
So yeah, the people that you've spoken to, there's always going to be objections, and that part of building your proposal, which I would recommend that everybody does, is that as you're building it, you're actually going to throw up objections and you'll be able to answer it in your proposal. But the biggest one is, and this is coming not from the person who was the potential investor, but actually this is coming from within, is, why are they going to trust me? And that is a huge bit, because that stops people in their tracks. So I'm going to throw this over to you to see what your thoughts are on the trust. So what would you put in place?
Oh, right.
So that you can direct people to different things and they can start to feel like they can trust you.
So my mindset would be, well, I am a trustworthy person. And my mindset would be, why wouldn't they trust me? They've got absolutely no evidence or historic, no history to say that I'm untrustworthy. So they're going to trust me. All I've got to do is prove that the deal works and their money's safe. And that becomes in the proposal. So, yeah, it's about, it's like knowing trust, as you say, without doubt. But again, it's evidence in your knowledge and your capabilities and your know-how of what you're doing and what you're implementing. So the question you've got to quash really is, from an investor point of view, is, will I regret getting into this deal? And if you can prove that you've bought it with profit from day, or buying it with profit from day one, you've quashed that and you've answered that question straight away.
I think you just put a really good point, actually, from a within because it's the self-doubt that then makes you think that people aren't going to
And we've all
trust
been
you.
there. Don't get me wrong. When we start
Yeah.
out, it's who's gonna invest in me? We've got no history, no background. We've only just set up the business. Who's going to invest in me? But people will, because they like, know and trust you, and then your golden ticket is that investor proposal.
Absolutely. So, but ability and trust are two very, very different things. This is a thing, but we tend to, as humans, we think our lack of ability, because we've never done this before. Some of you may have never
Experience,
done
lack
this
of
before.
experience, I'd say, rather than ability.
That's a really good point. But the lack of experience then for us then gets turned into, why would they trust me with this?
Yeah.
But there's so many different ways that people will trust you. Social proof is a big one, because people will be looking at you online. What were we just listening to on the Radio 2? Who was on there? Les Dennis. Very
showing your age.
I know. So just to put this into context, and this is, I think, over every single industry. He was talking about like the performing arts industry, about there's lots of people who are on social media, lots and lots of followers, but just being on social media itself is not going to bring you success in the world of, what did I just call it, performance arts. He said you've got to put hard work in, but the producers or whoever it is, I'm not really sure what you have behind the scenes in like theatre productions, but they are going to look at you on social media, because they're going to want to see how popular you are, who you're spending your time with, what your values are. And this is exactly the same. I thought, oh my God, this is exactly the same in property, because it's about turning up. You've got to be seen to be putting in the work. So if you are new, or if this is a new concept to you, then you've got to be on social media. You have got to be showing people that you're with the right people, you're learning, that you've got growth as well, that you're consistently learning, you're an action taker.
Not just on social media, but people go to networking events thinking they're going to get a result first time. Your face needs to be recognised in that networking event consistently, time and time again, so they're expecting you to walk through that door, and they want to hear what's been going on in the last week, fortnight, month, however long it is since the last one. So you need to be consistent in networking so that you become part of the furniture there.
Absolutely. And it's the same when with reviews, like when we go to buy something, if there's like 100 people that say it was great and one person said it was rubbish, then you think, oh, it's great, I'll buy it. And so if you've then got people telling, if this person starts to investigate you and asks around, and everybody says, yeah, they're a great person, I trust them.
I'd work with them,
then they're going to do that. They're going to say, okay, my best mate, they know them, so I trust them. So it's that association. So this is why it's so important for us to put ourselves out there, be seen multiple times. So visibility is super important. Credibility, people want to talk about us in a really positive way, but we need to have some form of outlet for people to be able to see that. So
basically evidencing your...
it is all about evidencing your credibility and what you're doing. You want to make sure that your messaging resonates with them. And definitely the investor is always, am I going to regret this? That is the biggest thing, because can you imagine?
But even the institutions now, the institutional lenders, they're looking at your socials to see what...
if your story adds up.
If the story adds up, they'll lend.
So it's all the same. It is all the same stuff. So that was rolled out into trust, but that's why the trust is huge. It is a huge, and how you can bolster, trust is by being seen in lots of different places, being seen with the right people, and being seen multiple times. So visibility actually gives you trust. And I think we're done. That's 30 minutes.
That's a wrap.
I know. So Neil's News was great. Always new stuff. Thank you very much for Neil's News.
My pleasure.
There's always new things, because you never tell me what was going on in the world before we hit Neil's News. So actually networking, talking of networking, next week is a huge week for networking with us. We've got online networking Tuesday at 7 p.m. If you have a look in the post that I put in there last night, there's 7 p.m. Tuesday, there's our live in-person networking, which is
couple
Colchester.
of great guest speakers.
Yeah, really,
great
really good.
guest speakers. Huge value this month.
Yeah, really,
That's
really
every
good.
month, but
A really top performer in deal packaging who's coming, and a multi-million-pound business person as well, who's got his fingers in all sorts of pies, and he's a very huge character as well. So yeah, definitely worth coming to Colchester on Wednesday. So that's Wednesday at 7 at the Cricketers Inn. And then on Friday we're actually doing a collaboration with Rebellious Network, Rebellious Business Network, and we're doing a networking event at 1 p.m. That's online with them. So there'll be lots of new faces there, a new group of people to socialise with. So yeah, head over to the post. And
within NAB and Investor.
Yeah, NAB and Investor. Well, I'll be putting it on our socials.
It'll be everywhere,
so it'll be different places. But so Tuesday 7 p.m, Wednesday 7 p.m, and that one's in person, or online on Friday at 1. So yeah, we've got a busy week ahead.
Yeah, lovely job. Have a great weekend.
Yeah,
thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely, we do really appreciate you guys coming in and watching and spending half an hour with us. If you need us, stick info into the NAB and Investor Club, the Facebook page. If you want any help with anything, then let us know.
Brilliant. See you soon.
Bye bye.